Casey looks like he's enjoying the rest of his meal right now. Delicious. What'd you eat? What'd you have for dinner there, Big K? Chicken. Okay, now that's a smart choice. Let's have chicken wings on a show. Let's see how that's like eating chicken wings on a first date. Speaking of first dates, I have no idea what that transition is, but we have got we've got some good stuff tonight. Start sharing this out there. Start hitting the like button. Start putting in the comments to break the algorithm. Who and where you're from? We've got Chicago PD. We've got Chelly. She's backstage. She's going to come talk about what's going on with the Chicago PD, and she's going to stick around for as long as she wants on all the other topics. So as you guys have seen, the Chicago PD and the fire department, etc., are big time in the news because they are fighting back against the mandates. Thank God somebody is. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan destroying Sanjay Gupta. There has been 87 million examples on conservative shows showing how bad he destroyed him. And then, of course, CNN had to do a whole campaign on why it wasn't that bad. Colin Powell passes away from COVID-19. Again, that's sad. We'll talk briefly about it, but we're going to talk about how the media covered his V status. Pete Buttigieg, the harbinger of wasted time. Talk about his. I was just going to talk about his paternity leave, and then he made some comments that I think are real super interesting about why there's empty shelves. And also, secondly, the second thing we're going to have on the show after Chicago PD, we're going to talk about the trans rapist in Loudoun County and the parent that got involved for protecting his child. Anyways, guys, that's the rub of the show, and we'll get started shortly. I need you to do me a favor. I don't know what happened last week. We were killing it 2 weeks ago. I need you guys to share this episode. The algorithm decided to go, you guys did good for a month, but go F yourself. So share it for us out there, guys. Thank you very much. It's time to start Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 71. That's right, ladies and gents. Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 71, with our favorite cast members on the planet. What's going on, everybody? Suni, what's cracking?
Chilling.
That was a lot of mic movement. A lot of mic movement for a chillin'. Easy, what's cracking with you?
I'm trying to get my mic right.
You got to get your mic right.
Get your mic right. Get your life right.
Exactly. Easy, what's cracking with you, buddy?
You know, I'm just holding it down over here for the fat white men, keeping it real.
You know what I loved? I loved hearing Joe Rogan use the word fat over and over again, and not because it's okay to fat shame, but because in some cases, in order to possibly change the health of this country, we have to say words that are accurate. The terminology. If I've been fat a time or two in my life, say what fuck effing matters. Sorry, Nancy. I don't know if you're watching. Casey, what's going on, brother?
Nothing, man. Just love that our government keeps spending money and we blame everybody else.
Exactly. Kevin, what's cracking with you?
What up? What up? By the way, everyone, the government is still trying to get access to any and all bank accounts that have more than $600 in them. So, let's stand against this stuff.
I thought they switched it to 10,000. Today they said they were shifting it to 10,000. Am I wrong?
10,000 has always been the gift threshold.
Right. No, they said today that was a concession that they made, was to go back to the 10,000 number. But let's be honest, they can see inside our bank account anyways.
It doesn't matter. I had a friend had $136,000 seized out of his bank account.
Yeah, civil asset forfeiture is the greatest
tax
theft.
Problems.
Yeah, the civil asset forfeiture is the greatest theft our America is facing. So
yes,
either all of it, whatever. Screw the government. That's all I have to say.
Facts.
All right.
Real estate.
That's what I'm working on right now, actually. All right. Before we bring Chelly up to talk about the police bar, you guys have probably noticed, and I haven't looked at the comments yet in the comment box. How is it that Facebook has so much control over what we do that 1 week they decide to let us actually a whole month they let us just blow up every time we went live 200 people, and they would recommend it over and over and over again, and then now our views are back down to the way they were before? Is this weird to anybody else that they have that much
No,
control?
it's not weird. It's not
on?
weird. You have Cash that was black and running the show, and now we have white guy Russo running the show.
But no, but we're talking a month
Sunni
ago.
needs to be running the show.
But a month ago we were hot. Like 2 weeks ago we were hot, and now I gotta milk people's teats for us to get recommendations.
I'm sure your girlfriend's told you that a time or two, but she was lying.
Oh man. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm trying to.
We need another black person. All right, I'm tired of being the token Negro.
Hey,
whatever. We talked about this last night.
We don't have enough sauce in this group. All right,
I'm like 4%, so I think I count.
Okay.
There's a difference between 4% and 4 inches, Kevin. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I got it both. I don't care. Like, does it count? No.
I love that we've managed to find a way to combine a little bit of Conservengers with what is a serious show. And with that, since we're gonna add a little Latin flavor on this
Please,
episode.
man, bring some diversity here. God damn.
So not only we are going to not only bring a Chicago police officer, we are going to bring a Latina. And I'm not going to say Latinx or whatever the word is, because she's a female. Because she's an effing female. And she's also a female, so that covers more bases. So now we're probably qualified for more. We get 7 more viewers for having a Hispanic female on there. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing up Chelly to the stage, Chicago police
Guys, this
officer.
is affirmative action at its finest. Thank you.
I mean, you got a retard right here, so I mean, like, I'm autistic technically.
Did you just use a hard R? Jesus. You can't do that.
I have learning disabilities. I'm allowed to say that.
I'm allowed to. Shoot. Look, Joe Biden said, I don't know how to get an ID, bro. I'm a full-blown retard. I can't use the internet.
I promise we used to be respectable. Things have changed, but it's okay. We're here anyways.
Oh, this is good. Hello, folks. Come in. Somebody bragging about 4 inches. Sounds like your ex-husband.
Bro, that doesn't even scratch the surface, but okay.
All right, Chelly, introduce yourself for people. You haven't been on in a while. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. And I know that they're a little different than things might have used to be. So how's it going, Chelly?
Hey, how are you? I like how you put me right under Sunni.
Cool.
I'm right under her.
There you go.
Let's put the minorities on one side of the screen. I'm just joking.
We adjust.
I feel
Chelly,
marginalized back here.
Hello,
why am I on the same level as this other white guy over here that claims he's a retard?
Because you're all white men. Get used
Claims.
Oh my God.
I have to sell this now for the whoever's gonna shoot this down. I have learning disabilities. I technically qualify.
I'm self-distancing. I don't want to catch it.
Yeah, no. All right, somebody can Chelly introduce herself for sweet and baby Jesus. Chelly, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Chelly. I am a police officer in Chicago. I have 25 years on the job, and I have been with Sunni and Anthony in the past.
Love it, fantastic. So let's jump right in. You got some Chelly fans in here. They missed you. Probably have to have you on more. Now that I keep forgetting that you're on a temporary leave right now, so we should have you on here more. All right, so everybody kind of knows what's going on with the Chicago PD. You've sent me some videos of the Fraternal Orders of Police, the Fraternal Order of Police president. The floor is yours. Give us the real update that we're not seeing on mainstream media. I also noticed, by the way, that WGN actually does a pretty good job reporting the news.
They do.
Better than national news. So, but give us the breakdown of really what's going on in the Chicago Police Department.
Okay, so Mayor Lightfoot put a mandate where that we had to enter into a computer system whether we were vaxxed or not vaxxed. That deadline was given by the 15th of October. Myself, along with other police officers, main concern was, who is this information going to? Why are you requiring medical information? And there was.
Oh, did she freeze or? Okay, there we go. Chelly, try it again. Is it just her that's frozen, or is it all of us?
I think it's just her.
Oh, Chelly.
It's that Chicago internet.
Right? The Chicago Police Department cut her off. Oh, are you back?
Did I freeze?
See, you were in the wrong window. That's why we have to keep you close, Dooney. Okay. All right, go ahead.
So I don't know where it cut off. So so basically we received this mandate. Our chief concern was who is going to get this information. We also found out that the company that they were using to keep all this information was the company that had been breached several years back. So that was a concern for us. Our president of our Fraternal Order of Police, his name is John Catanzara. He is very, very vocal. He has been fighting for us since he was elected in. And just so that people are clear, that is his job. Us, the members, elect him to that position. It's a whole election. It's a whole process so that he can fight for the members. So the mayor, news media, they take it out of context saying that he's doing A, B, C, and D on his own accord and guiding us in the wrong way. He is doing what we, the members, have asked him. I just want to make sure that that's very clear. So if we didn't go in and put our information, whether we were vaxxed or not, into the portal by the 15th, we are going to have to be called down to 35th in Michigan, which is our headquarters. Supposedly, they're going to start doing it by district now. I don't know how true that is because this is new. We've never done this before. Anything that is done that changes the conditions of your employment for the police department has been a part of the collective bargaining agreement for the past 40 years, which means the president of our union and the city go to the table and try to hash out the details. Once they can no longer try to bargain, it usually goes to an arbitrator. That's what it has done for 40 years. This particular mandate did not. The mayor went straight to, this is what it is, and that's what it's going to be. So, which is why our union is fighting back. So they're stating this was not bargained. There is a court date set for tomorrow that the president of FOP has to attempt to get a judge to put a restraining order against the mayor to stop what they're doing. Police officers have been stripped already starting as of yesterday. So, and they also went into a no pay status. Usually if they strip you and they're still doing an investigation, you're in a pay status until they come to a finding. So this is the first time for all of this. The first time that the conditions of our employment have been changed without going to collective bargaining, or we are being just stripped and going into a no pay status.
Chelly, before you go on, and I'm going to have everybody ask you a question or whatever questions they have, but this is important because you've sent me a couple of these videos, and coming from John, his biggest thing right now is when you get called into these meetings, can you give the instructions that you've seen him say about about how it's whatever, it's not official or, you're not forced to or whatever that is?
Correct. So what they're doing is there's a 3-step process. And the first one is considered a counseling process where they kind of tell you, are you in the portal? Are you not? Is it a mistake? Maybe not. And then they'll give you the chance to go into the portal then. If you at that point refuse, they will send you to human resources. At human resources, I believe that is when they will strip you of your police powers, which means you have to turn in your police ID, your badge, and your hat shield. At that point, they will take you to another office where exempt rank will give you a direct order. At that point, you have another chance to go into the portal and let them know if you're vaccinated or not. If you still refuse at that point, they will give you a package and put you into a no pay status. If for some reason which I know there are people out there who cannot afford to lose their job or to be put into a no pay status, or are terrified at that point because we've never done this at all. So people who are just terrified and then go in and fill out the portal. Then at that point, he recommends there is a to from, which is what we usually put stuff on to respond to any allegation placed against us. It's just kind of like a letter with your reason on there. He wants you to put on there that I'm only signing at this time under duress, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of pre-printed. When I say FOP, that's the Fraternal Order of Police. So they are allowed to be present with you during counseling, during those 3 steps. They are allowed to be present. A lawyer is not allowed to be present. A lawyer can only be present at the final step, I believe, when they are giving you your packet. It's all brand new. So we're kind of learning as we go. So we're sitting back, watching every video that comes out, any kind of email that comes out, because this is very new for us. And there are, just to be clear, this is not just Chicago police, this is Chicago firemen too. A lot of first responders who feel the same way. Like they feel that it's, where's this information going? Why do I have to even discuss my medical information? I've never had to tell you if I've had a flu shot or anything else. And where's this going to go?
All right. So we're going to have Casey ask a question. One thing we forgot to mention beginning of the show, we are all wearing different stuff. Obviously, we've got a new shirt on that Casey's got right there, the Evolution shirt, monkey all the way to sheep through human beings on their cell phones. Action over awareness. I've got impeach Biden, fire Kamala, and retire Pelosi. All those can be found on the store. Wake up for 20% off. Forgot to do that in the beginning. We'll do that again at the end. All right. Sorry. Chelly, you're killing it. Casey, go ahead with your question.
No, and Chelly, I'm first of all, I apologize. You're going through this ridiculous disaster that our country is not standing up and supporting. One, not just our first responders, but everybody that was applauded for the last year and a half for going through the COVID stuff in the hospitals and everything. Now we're just like, no, we're kicking you to the curb. So I want to say thank you and I appreciate you. But the biggest question I have for you around this is, how does this deal with you? How do you deal with this emotionally? And does this drain on you outside of work? Because I know your work's already stressful. Does this add tremendous amount of stress outside of that?
So yes, and it's not just for me. Like I know I've been constantly in contact with officers and people in the fire department who, when I tell you, the police department has been pushing this officer wellness because we know that suicide is the #1 killer of officers. They're trying to push COVID is now. So they put you through these wellness programs. They have all these wellness things. And when I tell you that I don't suffer from anxiety, I don't suffer from depression. I never have. I think I've had 2 panic attacks in my life, and it was under some serious conditions. But the last, I want to say, since this started, I have literally, I did a live show yesterday, just for the first time, talking out loud and hearing myself say that. I had pressure on my chest. I started sweating profusely during my live. I got like super emotional. I got super choked up. And it's not just me. It is people all over, people who are the breadwinners in their family, who have children in private schools or who have homes or who have invested 20 plus years in this job. And what are we going to do now at our age? Where are we going to pick up from that? I'm not saying that we can't. Obviously we can, but usually you prepare for that, right? Like I've prepared for retirement. I know that in 5 years, I was done anyway. Like we have an exit plan. We had that all worked out. Where now we have properties. We were going to keep them, use them as residual income to add to our pension money. But now we're thinking of just literally just selling everything and trying to recover from there. And again, it's not just me. I talked to a female officer today because I extend myself. We have some police pages that we are on, and I've given out my personal phone number. And I said, if anyone is going, through it, if someone like me who's really strong and I feel that pressure right now, like, please reach out. I don't want people to feel like they're alone in this. It's rough. Like, our son just started college. Like, it's super hard.
Well, and I don't want to discredit you by any means, and I appreciate what you're doing and anything that we can do to help. As always, you're always with us, Chelly. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's hard, and I'm sorry you're going through that, because I don't like to see it. I know of a follower, I don't know if they're watching right now, but they're going through the same thing, which I want to connect us three and keep that going. And the follower is from the Chicago area as a police officer, and united is how we're going to fix this. So I appreciate you.
Easy, go ahead.
I'll just echo what Casey had to say there. All appreciation is due. This is the toughest position anybody can be put in, whether it's from a familial or any standpoint. This is just the shittiest thing ever. That being said, I want to touch on something you've kind of made a point of touching on, which is what the unions are doing for you. Traditionally, I want to be very clear, like almost every Democratic governor, mayor, Senate person, they are almost always digging for the unions to push for more. In this instance, they are pushing for the unions to have no collective bargaining agreement over change in condition. And I want to say this just to kind of make the point clear here is unions are going to be very vital in this fight against mandate, because they can't just change the rules without the consent of the individuals who belong to the union. That is the collective bargaining power that they have. And so right now it's the Fraternal Order of Police. I know we kind of talked backstage a little bit that there's firefighters that are also facing some of this same stuff. But how interesting, I just want to make this point and show everybody how interesting it is to have useful people when you're in power and you want something. Democrats almost always side with unions. In this instant, you have the Lori Lightfoot, who is a progressive through and through, who is saying, I don't care what kind of red tape that the unions are going to put around me in this instance. We're gonna go throw this in court and stomp all over you anyways. So it's really important right now, even though I'm not a big union guy, I don't love unions. I think that they do, unfortunately, they weigh and bog down the system a tremendous amount. But in this particular circumstance, vital. It is vital. And what Chelly is facing, what every police officer, what every union in this country is facing right now, needs to be a wake-up call that if we don't collectively bargain as a group of people, we're going to lose these rights and we're not going to have them anymore. So thank you, Chelly, for bringing light to the issue, because it's tremendously difficult and hard to explain, I think, for a lot of people when they're trying to trace back, well, where is my rights end and my freedom begin? And so I just, like, if they're willing to do this to police officers, they've already showed they're going to do it to nurses. They're going to do it to electrical workers, plumbers. They're going to do it to everybody who provides services to you, which inherently means your life is going to suck because nobody is going to provide those services anymore. Truckers, this is the whole thing. So I wanted to bring that broad spectrum. But Chelly, for your specific circumstances, same thing as Casey was saying. This is just an unbelievably ridiculous situation.
I agree. All right, let's. Military as well. I spoke to some people. It's interesting, as we talked about before the show. Is there really an executive order? No. It's been said there's been a mandate. It's literally one gigantic bluff because of they know that it's unconstitutional and they can't do it. So right now it's a bunch of private entities and public service groups like the police departments that are doing this because they're mayors and they're just following suit without a true executive order, and it's bullshit. This is what I really want to. What's up, Suni? Or what's up, Chelly?
I just wanted to say there is a lawsuit. I just saw it yesterday. And it's like, I believe all the branches of the military against the Pentagon for the mandates as well. Yeah. Okay. So everybody is, people are coming together. People are waking up.
And it's going to require that. And as Chelly said, they actually can't strike. So when people, and I wanted to get the news correct, like people are going, oh, the police department's they can't go on strike. They've got an agreement. They can't. So as Chelly explained, they have a bunch of steps they have to go to. they don't have the ability to strike. They have the ability to retire, which is also another complete cluster F. And she'll briefly explain that before we wrap up the police stuff. We probably got about 3-4 more minutes left on this, and then we'll move on. So the other thing is people want to know, and I mean, you're seeing cops being shot in Chicago. My friend lives in a $2 million condo, and a half a mile away, there was a police shot right there, right in a street that she walks all the time. There's a raise in crime. You've told us that there is a no chase policy. The numbers that we see can be anywhere from the news saying 1,600 short, like you said, but what is really going on? Take away the fact that they're imposing a mandate when they're already short on police officers. How short are you guys really, and how bad is it for Chicago police officers right now?
So according to the media and our heads of our departments, I believe they're saying the number is around 1,600. I think they actually said 1,000, and there was an alderman here who said, no, you're forgetting this 600. So that's the number they're using. But I know from that there has been people retiring at a alarming rate, especially after what we saw last year happen. It is a very low number, especially the amount of officers that you have. Once you minus those numbers, you take away people that work at headquarters, you take away people that work in all of the 23 districts that we have in the city of Chicago. And then how many are you left with on the street? And then now we're here, and I post, if anybody follows my page, it's public. I do post every Monday or Tuesday, the weekend shootings and homicides. I don't post all the crime because that would be way too much for people to read through. I post the homicides and I post the shootings every single week. So to think that this is happening, and to think that aldermen, we have 50 aldermen in Chicago. We have twice as many as New York has. And we only have, I think, 4 that are supporting the union and what we're doing, and 2 that are kind of here or there. But where are the other 42? Aren't they? They're elected for the people. They're by the people to protect the people. And we know what we saw last year here in Chicago. Thousands, over 2,000 officers hurt last summer. So again, minus the number of people on medical, minus the number of people IOD, people who are not in the department don't realize those numbers matter.
So last but how many short do you think that you guys truly are? What is the ballpark number short in terms of 4,000, 5,000?
I would say, if I'd be generous. I'd say we maybe are staffed with, I'll be generous. I'll say maybe 9,000.
And then,
maybe,
so that means you're about 4,000 short.
Correct.
Gotcha. Excellent. And you guys aren't allowed to chase people unless it's a violent crime. So that's a whole different story. Okay. Are you guys ready to move on to the next topic? Obviously, Chelly, stick around because we'd love to hear your input on whatever you can, and whenever you got to go, let us know. But besides that, next topic, we're going to talk about the parent in Loudoun County and the transgender student rape. Suni, I'm going to have you take this one over to start it out if you can. Give us exactly what happened. Take us through it.
So there was a guy who claimed to be trans, dressing in a skirt, who assaulted not 1 but 2 teenage girls. I think one of them was in high school, 9th grade. And they asked the father, the school district asked the father not to say anything, but he ended up showing up to a school city council meeting. And he snitched. And police officers tried to arrest him, get him down to the ground for acting unruly. But this is what we've been talking about at least for me. You know, when you give these people 1 inch, they're going to take a mile. And there is something to be said about their mental state. Like, I'm not going to shy away from talking about these things. I never have, but somebody was assaulted. 2 young girls were assaulted because some weirdo decided to take advantage of woke legislation in this country, in different states, in cities, because they can identify as whatever they want to. Now I do have a clip, but it is Fox News, so I probably can't share it. You don't want to get snatched down.
Yeah.
But I'll post it on my page so you guys can see it. This is what's happening. Now just imagine how many people aren't coming out and talking about this. This father is like, I'm not going to be silent. I'm going to open my mouth and talk. Thank God he did. But how many, for this to be a country that is so worried about women's rights and all these extra things that they whine and complain about, why are you trying to shut this man up? Why are we trying to protect? I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to offend anybody watching, bro. But these people are fucked up upstairs. I'm sorry. Why? Why are they the most protected population in America?
Sorry, Nancy.
Yeah. It comes down to the fact that the ideologies are clashing, and what's happening with the Transformer community sometimes you get Decepticons in there. No, but what it comes down to is there's some there's some craziness that went on in between too that you kind of touched on, but I think needs to be really broadcast. So the first girl was assaulted. It was brought to the school's attention upon the father coming to the school and demanding something happen to be taken care of with his daughter. That was the first time he was arrested. They called the sheriffs to the school to go after the father who just found out his child had been assaulted. Fast forward, they took the kid out of this school, put him in another school, said that the only reason the cops were on campus the first day was because of the father, did not report it at all beyond that. And she was a young girl was assaulted at the very next school, basically on the first day back. And when he brought it up, like you said, Suni, at the parent-teacher conference, they tried to villainize him. And the reason behind it is that you don't get to, they profess to be the most victimized community in America. There's a trans genocide going on, right? Did you know at the most recent Trans Day, they had an 11-minute vigil because of the 11 trans people that had been killed this year? So basically, 0.5% of the population, if not just slightly less, making up 0.05% of the homicide victims, aka you are 10 times less likely to be killed. Yep. And yet there's this narrative that they're infallible. You can't point out their flaws. You can't because they're marginalized. They're the weakest among us, right? So we can't point out when we have to protect them at all costs. No, it's the intersectionality.
They're not the weakest among us. They're dudes. I mean, in this case, the weakest is technically, I don't want to, it sounds terrible, but in terms of physical strength, is a female. And we've forgotten that.
It's true. It doesn't sound bad. Women
I had to say it the right way. But
they are destroying what it means to be a woman. They do not value women. Exactly. They do not see inherent value. If you look on what trans people say on Twitter, they'll say stuff like there is no such thing as an attractive, straight woman. There's, all trans men or all trans women are more attractive than regular women. It's misogynistic to the extreme. It's men who come over and try to be women and then say they're better than women at being women. And it's completely and utterly misogynistic. And there's so many flaws within the entire logic system, but it comes down to this school board did not want to have to be the one that points out, hey, guys, maybe the conservative parents have a point here. They didn't want to be the ones that were responsible for putting, casting some shadow of doubt over this movement. So they were like, we're going to sweep the hell out of this under the rug, like lift it up and we're going to get it all the way under there. Exactly. Except you can't really hide a body under a rug. So
where's the Me Too movement?
Yeah, nowhere to be found. There is nowhere to be found.
Where is Kamala? Where's Nancy? Where's Pocahontas?
Honestly, screw all these
AOC.
movements. Where's the regular folks with the pitchfork saying, "Damn, these people come in and
people are scared.
They're coming to the school boards
anymore, bro. Americans, we just need to accept it, man. Men have lost their balls. Women are too damn masculine, and it's topsy-turvy up out here.
Yes,
it is what it is. If we had real strong men, this would not be going on in our country. All right. If this was the 1800s, 1776, where people love to talk about, this shit would not be going on in America. It wouldn't exist because nobody would stand for it. I'm utterly confused why men and women are afraid to call freaks. I'm sorry, man.
Well, here's
This
here's
dude is
here's
a
the
freak.
problem.
Are you dressing in a skirt?
It's not necessarily about calling freaks. It's about acknowledging people's being able to say, hey, you've got some problems. Like when your child comes to you and says, hey, I think I'm trans, being like, okay, let's figure out what's really going on here. I care about you. You are telling me you do not identify as anywhere on the traditional human spectrum. That's a red flag. Now let's figure out what the real problem in your life is so we can address it and we can get you actually feeling back to the way you need to be. Let's stop pretending that you don't have something going on.
And father stepping up.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem that I have with this is the reason why this is blown up is exactly what we're seeing. This Loudoun County incident is the perfect example because here's the deal. You guys know where I stand with preaching kindness and love to all people, but we can't continue to do that when the predatorial side, in this case, the protected individual, is not the innocent transgender. It is literally the abuser. It is the one that's punching down on. It is the one that has done the crime, and we are still protecting them based on their sexual miscategorization. That's the problem.
We need to point out this isn't just in school boards; it's in California prison system. The thing that Stephen Crowder got booted for was the joke about it, but it was revealing the truth of the fact that when California, you cannot deny someone their assumed gender identity, and when they say that they are a woman, even though they're a man, you put them in a female's prison. What if they're a lesbian? Well, now you've got prisons that are handing out condoms to their inmates in female prisons. The rapes are just through the roof. Women getting pregnant in prison. Like, your virtue signaling is getting a lot of people freaking hurt.
Thank you.
Yeah. Much less than the 11 transgenders that were unfortunately murdered last year. I mean, in all reality, let's be honest, the amount of rapes are way higher than that.
Let me give you guys a crazy statistic. The UK did a study found that 59% of the male to female trans inmates they had were sexual offenders. 59% compared to 16% of the male population and I think 11% of the female population.
But we can't talk about it.
Yeah, they don't have that study for America, but that all we have to go off of is Britain on that one.
Before we go to the next topic, I want to challenge Suni a bit because I want to know, because we always talk about the fathers in homes, and I think that's a huge issue. And I 100% agree with you that it's a huge issue. I don't always think it's the sole or the main thing. Why in this case do you think the transgender issue is a fathers in homes situation?
Because men bring logic to situations. Men are not going to appeal to their children's irrational thinking. I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about men that have fallen to woke society and feeling like, well, I have to acknowledge these feelings. I don't acknowledge every single one of my kids' feelings. I don't, because half of them don't make sense. So let me bring some logic to this. And my husband, if I didn't have my husband, I would probably appeal to their feelings more so than being like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is logical. Men, they are essential. They are essential. You're looking at the death of a nation.
I know, I get it. I'm saying specifically on this topic, because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I agree that it's important here. But in terms of the transgender, because I don't think there's a statistic that shows there's a higher ratio. And from the few instances I know in my personal life, there's actually most of the time are not single parent homes.
She said weak men. She didn't say single mothers, because it comes from a lot of white male college educated liberals. That's a lot of these households. That's there's a lot of weak men in that demographic.
And that's accurate based on my experience of the people that I know with transgender children or what have you. That's the 3 or 4 cases that I have.
Yeah, so it's not just men, it's women, it's the white college educated women as well. When their son comes to them and wears a dress, because guess what? Basically all boys go through this phase where they're curious about the other gender. That doesn't mean that they are identifying as the other gender. Everybody, women, girls go through it too, right? So rather than saying, oh, cool, so you like wearing a dress? Like, hey, cool, now let's get you out of that, Tommy. They go, oh, you must be a girl. Let's get you on some hormone blockers.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Look, when you see it a lot in the military. All right, that whole non-binary, I feel like a girl boy amongst children is humongous. Okay, and guess where their daddies are?
They're gone.
Deployed.
Interesting.
No, man.
It's
I just had this go down with my daughter at school with the child telling her, "Hey, I'm not a boy or a girl." I had to intervene. Like, first of all, don't be talking about this at school. Second of all, where are your teachers? Where's
this
your
is
mother and your father? Why are you coming to school talking about this crazy shit?
this is this generation's like metalhead stoner crowd.
It is,
Like,
man. It's
Can
bad.
It really is.
Easy, go
Can I
ahead.
throw in a statistic that I think is really important? It's a piece that we're missing to this puzzle, which is when we're talking about this community specifically. This is a .org or a .gov website that I've just pulled up right here. It says statistics documenting transgender people's experience of sexual violence indicates a shockingly high level of sexual abuse and assault. 1 in 2 transgender individuals are sexually abused or assaulted at some point in their lives. So let's take the fatherless situation out of the picture.
That contributes, bro. When you don't have strong men in the home, that breeds sexual molestation. It goes back to dads.
I'm only saying this to show the perpetuation of crime. That's all this is. This is a facilitated. I now have a way to wiggle my particular prowess into a criminality that is no longer criminal. So when you have 50% of a population that exists that says, I've experienced this in my life, what we're really talking about, and I'm not saying that the fatherless home or the weak father issue isn't a part of this. What I'm simply saying is it's maybe not even 50% of the equation. It's part of the equation, but the real heart of the issue is perpetuation of crime throughout generations. So sexual assault, being a victim of sexual assault, have a high propensity to potentially invocate that on somebody else. This is a .gov website that I pulled up, and I just think it's extremely important to understand these people are not necessarily acting out of they're sick, and it's okay to say this. It's okay to understand that perpetuated sickness can be handed down through not proper treatment. So I only wanted to interject this statistic because it's a fundamentally factual thing that is tracked. We can identify the crime, we can identify the time, and then we can identify the result.
It's not always true, though.
It's not
fair to put over 50% of those statistics on anybody who's been sexually assaulted or molested, because a lot more of us don't go out and repeat those behaviors.
Exactly. So it's a lot less than 50. What it shows is that at minimum 50% of people that identify as trans have gone through something incredibly traumatic.
Right.
Hence why when they come to you and say, I think I identify as something outside of the gender spectrum, the response shouldn't be, oh, good for you. Let's affirm this. It should be, okay, well, let's find out what the heck happened, because I want to get you help. Because that clearly, I'm not going to love you any less. I'm not going to say you're any less of a person. What I am saying is you're giving me a signal that something has happened to you that we need to figure out the root cause of and how we can treat it and how we can get you back on the right path to feeling mentally sound again.
Can I just interject a little bit really quick? I just want to say, like, I think that when we're listening to all of this, what's going on, I think a lot of it breaks down to mental illness, right? And I think that not only in the trans community is there mental illness, I think mental illness is a problem, especially with our children and with these younger generations, because of the crap that they're being taught, the crap that they're being exposed to. So I think mental illness is probably one of the key things for me, because I do feel that there is something wrong. Kevin had made a statement where, like, when your kid comes to you and you try to get to the bottom of it. But I will also say, like, this I believe it was a trans kid who assaulted somebody in a bathroom, right? I think that was the story, right? I don't think it's necessarily because they're trans. I think that because there's grown men who go into bathrooms and rape women. There's women that go into bathrooms and rape people. Like, it happens. I think the source of it is mental illness. And we can't just say that it's just in the trans community. Do I think they have a lot of mental illness? Do I think they suffer from body dysmorphia? Yes, I do. But I mean, look at some of the other murderers, known murderers. they probably were all mentally ill.
We'll wrap this subject quickly, but I think this is interesting. So I did not allow my childhood trauma to define who I grew up. So I think this is what happened. Suicide became an issue in this country, greater and greater. There was depression. It was hidden under the rug, and then it blew up. And we panicked. We go, what do we do? How do we deal with this mass amount of suicide? And again, things are trends. When somebody sees that other people commit suicide, celebrities commit suicide, celebrities overdose, all these different things, all of a sudden it becomes okay. So what we did was we go, oh, we got to stop this. How do we stop this? And we start treating every mental illness as soft as we possibly can. And in the end, what that's doing, although being kind to the individual that has already has a exactly, that's what I was getting to, already has a psychological issue, what it's making them, for a large portion, go through their life, except for small numbers, go through their life as accepted enough where they feel like they can get through, but at the same time, the trauma is still living in them. And ultimately, the people that have gotten over that trauma, it's unfortunate. There is either suicide, mass depression, or people that get over it. Right now, we are having a mass amount of human beings in this country on mental illness, whether it's with gender dysmorphia or whether it's just any of the weaknesses. We're being so nice and coddling them that they're never going to be fully functioning members of society, except for very rare occasions. And none of them completely rebound who they are. And even the transgender community, when somebody says this shit's pretty whack, or if they say this shit's whack, next thing you know, they can bounce back. Whereas sometimes Dave Chappelle, for example, talked about the transgender woman at the end of his routine. Daphne. She was treated with utmost respect and understood by probably one of her idols. But the pain and the torture, no matter how soft she was treated, she still committed suicide. So we can't fix everything, but what we can do is try to fix something. For God's sakes, we actually have to have real conversations. If somebody has a mental disorder, we have to call it out. If somebody's fat, we have to call it out. We are helping them by doing that. We are not hurting them.
Yeah, it's the idea that you're not allowed to shame, and that shame was literally the driving force of pretty much all societal change that has occurred since we began grouping up in bundles. Shame is you have like communal things, but shame is an incredible motivator for in a society to get people to, if you can't have the government telling people how to behave, you have to have other mechanisms. And the way the community gets people to stop doing really bad behavior is through shame. If the community is having to pay, is having to put on masks because of a virus that almost exclusively kills people that have, are overweight, the approach should be, well, you need to start getting healthier. You need to start taking care of your body because your lack of taking care of your body is now hurting me. It's now detrimental to my life. I'm now having to make changes in my own life. It shouldn't be, hey, you wear a mask, because it's like they're doing the shame thing the wrong way because they're trying to use shame to reinforce bad behaviors and destroy good behaviors.
Right. Suni, what do you think of this comment?
I think we need to understand that kids need to learn how to deal with their own problems at school. Listen, bullying can go over the line, but what people call bullying now is complete bullshit, bro. When I was coming up, we clowned on people. All right. If you had busted ass shoes, bro, you got told you had busted ass shoes. If your hair was messed up, you got told your hair was messed up. Yo, if you looked dirty, bro, you look dirty. If you don't want nobody saying that to you at school, then maybe wash your ass, clean up.
Yeah.
We have to stop giving excuses to people, man. Like I make fun of my own kids. So when somebody does it at school, they can laugh and be like, I don't care. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. You said this about me, but we got to stop, bro. Like I'm honestly, I understand it. Stop bullying, but I don't hop on this stop bullying train.
There's a level.
I don't believe in it.
There's a gray area. Go ahead.
Jonathan Haidt actually talks about this specifically in the coddling of the American mind, right? So one of the big issues we run into is the presence of social media. The fact that it used to be if you got picked on a little bit at school, you would go home and it was gone. and you could kind of forget about it, and then you would go back to school again the next day and you get picked on. Now it follows you. Now it chases you everywhere you go. There is no escaping it. There is no getting away from it. And that is really toxic. And the response to it, though, has been disproportionately as well. It's like, I get you want to end the cyberbullying, but your job as a parent is to teach your child how to defend themselves. I'm sorry. I'm not going to try to eliminate the threats. I'm going to try to teach my child to overcome the threats and protect
100%.
themselves against the threat. It used to be, you want to know what my parents' response was to me getting picked on at school? They put me in freaking martial arts.
I just put my 5-year-old in Taekwondo. Like
I never got in a fight after that. Like,
just real quick, I see a comment here. They said, what if they can't afford shoes? You know what you should tell them? Bro, go find something that can give you money. If your parents aren't stepping up, sometimes you got to do it by yourself, bro. Like, I know kids that grew up around me that would go sell water, go cut grass,
get on the candy bar
do
hustle.
something. We got to stop telling kids they can be victims. Like, no, man. If kids are making fun of your shoes at school, bro, go cut some grass and buy yourself some new shoes. Like,
and what people don't understand about, and I agree and disagree to a point, because I think like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, that's very tough. But I get what you're saying, and I agree to a point. But wait, hold on.
Been out of the womb 3 weeks. Go cut grass.
But what people don't understand is that schools, including the ones that are in the bad neighborhoods that actually have more funding than the schools in the good neighborhoods per student, actually have a budget to take care of this. They actually have a budget to go out and actually do little things like buy shoes if they need to. That is an administration failure. That is a teachers union failure. That is a failure in a lot of different levels, because technically those kids that have if they have crappy shoes, they have crappy shoes. Guess what? I had crappy shoes. I was poor as shit growing up. I had free lunch growing up. I got picked on just the right amount because it made me tougher. But at the same time, like I'm going to give one anecdote and then we really got to move on. I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram. I had no idea who this person was. And they said, I'm so happy somebody from Parkway Central is awake. And I'm like, who the fuck is this person? I had no idea. I had no idea who it was. And I started looking and I looked down and it's a girl named Melissa. I won't say her last name. I figured out she was in my class. This is a girl that I remember the first time I heard the word obese, poor, all this. She was the rich Jewish girl that was the most popular girl in school, that literally was my ultimate bully. And now here we are, 39 years old, and she's messaging me, glad to see somebody awake. Because she was so mean to me, I remember it? Yeah. And you know what I wanted to do my whole life was succeed because of that kind of shit talk. Use the shit talk for success, and that changes the fucking game. Instead of, oh, you get to go home because you were treated like shit, or your shoes aren't good enough. Okay, guess what? You've got a whole life. Somebody needs to tell this kid they've got a whole life. If they don't have shoes, the shoes better freaking be taken care of by the school. If they do have shoes, guess what? You're going to learn later in life that you get to work for whatever the fuck you want. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm going to add 3 words to this. Well, a few more than 3, but yeah, I was picked on a lot. I went to a rich school. I went to a rich school. Everybody drove BMWs and stuff going to school. I didn't. I drove a $400 car to high school. And one of the things that taking what Russo is talking about, I told them all the time, and I said, you can pick on me, you can bully me all you want. Guess what? I'll be your boss one day. And I am 2 people's boss that I went to school with.
Ooh. You sound like a cop from my neighborhood. Growing
up. Do I treat them different? No.
I'm going to be the police. You're going to be the boss. I'm going to be the police officer.
I just took that as motivation to be able to deliver on what I felt I needed to deliver on. And
when they motivated yourself.
When they report to you, do they say yes, massa?
That's only Sunni.
First of all, there's only one massa here. And it ain't none of you white motherfuckers. It's only...
But I think like with the bullying
stuff hate me because my skin color.
Chelly, go ahead.
We got the other minority here. Damn.
Chelly, let Chelly
like,
go.
I just want to say really quick, as far as the bullying thing too, like we have schools. I live in a Democrat city, so you have the CRT, you have all this stuff. So you have them where these kids are being taught, right? And it's the biggest hypocritical thing here ever. So these kids are being taught like, oh, don't do that, don't say this, don't say that, right? And I had shared with Suni and Russo many emails from my kids' school with the stupidest shit that they were asking. So just really quick, my daughter is a sophomore in high school. Some male student decided just to say, "Shut up, you dirty little slut." And my daughter turns around and says, "Watch your mouth." He says, "I'll fuck you up." She said, "I'll slap the shit out of you." She got suspended for it.
Fuck?
She got this. Now, mind you, a liberal school that is all about these liberal attitudes, but you suspend my child for defending herself. You know what I did? I didn't get mad at her. I said, "No problem. We'll take that suspension. Fuck you."
You know,
like,
Love
are
it.
Are you kidding me?
fact.
Right?
You know what's funny? My mom, that was another. I mean, again, I was raised poor. My mom always had my back. She was like Mama Bear. She got ugly when she got angry, and honestly, watching her go out of her mind angry is what actually taught me to compose myself and be able to speak. Because I was 13 years old, seeing my mom go nuts to have my back, and I'm like, no, I got this. I have specific examples that I won't go into, but fact is, like, I was like, people were like seeing a 13, 14-year-old be like, this is the way this is going to work. And that's where I learned my speaking ability, was because I saw my mom that wanted so passionately to take care of me that I was like, this is scaring me. I think whatever's happening, it's embarrassing, but I know she means the best. I'm going to take care of this my fucking self. And that's how I became able to talk. So everybody, you should learn from these issues, not cry about certain levels. Now, there is bad bullying. There is a certain level, and we have to be clear about that, but that's a different story. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about whatever the fuck.
Booty gang. Come on.
You're
get the
being
name
a
right.
bully against Pete. You're so rude.
Pete's
Pete's
booty
being
gang.
a bully
Booty
against the
boy.
country. Pete's
Mayor
using...
Pete does not appreciate these.
I don't think he
things.
would.
Gang.
Pete is using 2 months of taxpayer dollars to have paternity leave. Before we get into his bullshit statements on, I believe, MSNBC, what do you think about the Department of Transportation head during our shortage of everything and the beginning and the whatever? What do you think about him going on a paternity leave, which was a chosen
Hey.
chosen adoption? Sorry
Make
about
it
that.
make sense. Make it make sense.
Hey, I don't feel bad. I don't really give a shit, because I feel like women have asked for this. I'm equal to a man. Well, bitch, you got what you asked for. Like, now you're equal to a man. Why you complaining? Now they get paternity leave. So if you want longer, I guess you better start protesting and doing what you need to do. Like, I don't know. For me, all this stuff is like, bro, you asked for it. I don't even care no more.
What if he decides he doesn't like this child, so he returns it next month and like gets another one in exchange? Does he get another 2 months of paternity leave? Like, I got a new one.
Can I get an understanding of what this return process is?
All I
He's
know
like,
is
I don't
when
want my
you're-
adopted baby anymore.
My husband got literally 2 weeks. All right.
Yeah.
He got 2 weeks to sit at home, and then he had to go back to work. So I don't know what men are doing at home, because you don't do shit for like the first 6 months when your baby's that small. Like, take your ass to work. What you doing at home?
I have
Technically, well, they're both being the role of woman because they have to. Obviously, there's no tit, so
That's
teat.
gross.
But they have to.
They have a giant prosthetic.
But I'm not gonna lie. If I'm gonna say this carefully, if my husband was just kidding. If my husband
he's being honest, everyone.
Yeah.
He's talking about his husband.
I'm not gonna like Kevin is cute. Just kidding. But if my husband was, or you know what, let's play a real
Suni is
scenario.
so uncomfortable.
Let's play a real role. If my wife was,
and you're a woman in this scenario,
was the leader of the Department of Transportation in the United States of America in the first year of a new presidency, and they're in the cabinet collecting tax dollars during what is a very contentious time in our country, I would say, I got this, babe. Go back to work. Not take 8 weeks and then all of a sudden emerge and say, this is what it means to have paternity leave, and be an example for parents out there. It's the biggest load of garbage in history.
Again, the diminishing of women. The reason why women get part of the reason women get maternity leave is they're literally recovering from developing and producing a child.
Oh,
Thank you.
Like that is why they get so long.
Bro.
It's like the whole point is that a man doesn't have to do any of that. The whole point is that the day a woman has a child, the man can protect her. Like,
Hey, but like, what happens when a man has a child?
They don't.
what?
And we're not going to even talk about that.
then her
So disrespectful.
the male female that they married.
No, I
Just
but I
take him down.
100%
Just
agree.
take him down.
I was
Chelly said, "Take him down."
Just take him down. just take him down.
but Suni, I agree with you, and I agree with everybody here. My first child was born Carter, and I was working on my laptop and my phone as he was being born.
Good.
Like,
When I have no like, honestly, I know I'm a sick human being, but like I feel like work is incredibly important. I was, when my closest aunt, which was like my second mother, was passing away, I was completing a piece. She died at midnight. I was 4 a.m. doing video editing. Like, I don't have that bone in my body, so I have to step back and realize I'm not like every other human being. But 2 months when you're one of the main people of the free world, and when we're having a shortage like this, are you that?
Yeah, no,
and it's an adoption, right? Am I wrong? It's an adoption.
So it was a choice. He chose to say, you know what, this is a good time to fucking do this.
So this is an adoption. His wife or significant other, whatever.
His husband.
Is it really his husband?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why his last name is Buttigeg.
Oh. Okay, well, I didn't get that memo, but regardless. So my thing is even if it was a woman who had a baby, like, I'm thinking it's an adoption. Neither one of them are going through like recovery. Their insides are not turned out backwards and all this shit. Like, I had 5 children. They never got any kind of leave. It was like, you're getting the day she's in the hospital and then bring your ass back to work, period.
See, but that's the problem. If he is in the cabinet of if he has a high-ranking role in our country and he's the wife, that means I don't think he's a power bottom. Let's be very clear on this one.
All right. You have crossed the line of uncomfortableness.
Okay, so Jay clearly has an issue. So let's talk about it real quick, because I think it's important. No,
is that Jay the liberal?
No, it's
no, it's not.
No,
Can I just make this statement that you don't accept this type of position if you're not putting in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's called sacrifice.
Have a mentality, like you can't have a take time off mentality when you are in a 4-year position that requires your utter and complete attention. Like, we barely take time off, and we're running an organization that is so small it's basically incalculable. We put all of our time and energy into this. We have other things going on, but it's absolutely embarrassing to me that we have somebody who's in a role that is a important decision-making role, and they can't commit to giving their time and energy to it. And I'll touch back on some of this stuff. To Chelly's point, this is an adopted child. Neither of these men gave birth to this child. There is no bodily damage that needs to be rectified through rest and healing. There is no, like, this is horse crap in every sense of the word. Like, for a man to take 2 months of paternity leave while he is in a job that requires him to be a logistical leader of a country, he doesn't have respect for anybody. Mayor Pete can go back to the town he came from
during a moment of panic, no doubt.
Yeah, it's about sacrifice, and if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, and I'm not saying that, hey, you should sacrifice time with your child, but if you're not going to want to sacrifice the time with your child, then don't take that position. But since all he really does care about is virtue signaling, and all he's going to care about, he's going to come out on the other end and say, conservatives attacked me for taking my paternity leave.
And I'm sorry, this whole thing about paternity leave and maternity leave, I get it, 2 weeks, a month, maybe make it a little different. But if everybody in this country got paternity and maternity leave for 2 months after, that would leave such undue stress on small business owners and big business owners alike, to where all of a sudden you now have to pay people for 8 weeks when you have, Unfortunately, somebody has to do work in this country. Let's be very.
I have a question.
clear.
I
Sorry,
got a
man.
question.
Go ahead.
What significant role do men play at that young of an age? Let's just be real here.
Moral support.
Yeah,
and
it's
support
support
of the wife.
Moral
support the recovering
support.
wife. I mean,
Moral
the wife.
support.
I mean, would you have been able to fully function the day after you gave birth?
Look, I was walking the next day.
Yeah.
I had a
Most people
C-section.
can.
I
That's
was
fair.
walking the
Fair
next
enough.
day.
Yeah.
But
When when it comes to childbirth, because this is what we're made to do. I feel like people give us a oh well, you just had a baby. Like, first of all, I had one child that was breastfeeding. I just popped out one, so technically I had two of them on my chest. My husband was literally home with me for 2 days. He deployed, did a TDY, and I was just fine. I was just fine. Bonding for what?
Well, the thing is, it's not like, hold on. This is we think that he leaves and he's gone for 2 months. You do get to go home at the end of the day. You do get to see your child. You do get to, there is other
Exactly.
things. Yeah, and the fact we did not know that he was even on paternity, it's not like you're completely separate. And let me be clear, if he needs to bring the kid to the office, I don't give a baker's F. Like, get in there, be in the meetings, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on this, because I want to drop the bomb on what he said on, it was CNN Jay Tapper, right? Yeah. Let's not forget what happened when Trump would go golfing with world leaders, might I add. He wasn't just golfing. I mean, he was golfing with world leaders. He was golfing with people in this country that are the heads of aluminum, whatever, major business. It was not just recreation. Sometimes maybe, but we were slamming him as a media because he was off work for 5 hours when he was fully available by phone and typically conducting business. Yet he's gone for 8 friggin' weeks. Okay.
But they never said anything when his brother died and we were going through it and he was right back at work. They never gave him any accolades for any of the times things bad happened and he was right back in fucking saddle. I'm just saying.
No, you're on point. And I hate Russo for baiting me into this right now. I hate Russo. But you're making me defend. What did we do for Ted Cruz, too, for taking a day trip to Mexico?
Lambasted his ass.
Yeah, we destroyed him.
Who was we?
And he came right back.
I told you guys to shut the fuck up bitching. I don't know if you remember that.
I wasn't bitching at all. I think it was bullshit that they had a problem with him. I literally was like, there was nothing he could do. Technically the power was off probably at his house, so it's bad. I mean, as long as it's available by home.
I was guilty. I'm gonna own it. I was guilty. I think I talked. Well, I didn't talk shit. I just called him on it. I was like, your timing was wrong, dude.
He's not a governor. He's not a governor, and he's not a mayor. He was a senator.
He was escorting his daughter.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was. Okay, so let me. Can I drop the bomb? I don't know how many of you guys saw this dumbass. So Pete Buttigieg on
Booty Gang.
Booty Gang on the transportation secretary as the transportation secretary on CNN. He was asked about the shortage and everything going on with the empty shelves, supply chains, and his response. Well, currently, we're working on it. We're trying to figure exactly what's going on. However, let's realize why this is a problem. The supply chain problems are a result of Biden's successes. Demand is up because income is up, because the president has successfully guided this economy out of the teeth of a terrifying recession. He is saying that shelves are empty because of Biden's phenomenal economy. You can't make this shit up. There it is. There's the tweet.
Yep.
You sound surprised that he's sucking Joe Biden's rooster.
Oh my God! The fact that he was not challenged, and I get it, it's CNN. The fact that he was not challenged on that statement, because let's be clear, and I said this on my live earlier, we're not just talking about like toys for Christmas. We're talking about paper goods. We're talking about toilet paper. So I said earlier, and Chelly laughed at this. What are we? All of a sudden, is the nation's success is dependent on us wiping our ass more? Like, what are you talking about?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
It makes no sense.
You said, are we wiping our ass more?
Yeah, are we wiping our ass more?
Like,
fuck?
Hey, what did we learn during COVID? We have to be more hygienic and we got to clean more.
Bruh, you can look. Ain't nothing that some hot water and soap won't fix.
For real.
Just ask Pete Buttigieg. All right. Hey, too soon, but for real. I mean that to me is where we've gone from insanity of 2 months of leave to now he's come back is to literally ignore the issue and pretend as though it's because of the massive success of a country right now that is paying over $3.50 a gallon. Consumer goods prices are up anywhere from 10 to 30%, and we're celebrating a lack of tax. Like, inflation right now is through the roof, like Jimmy Carter era inflation, and we're ignoring it. And Pete Buttigieg, who's been gone for however long, is now saying empty shelves is showing the success. The American public can't be that dumb, can they?
Yeah.
No, they're
Unless
not.
you got a 6% raise last year, you lost money. Sorry.
Guys, they're not. There's no way you can tell me the American people are that dumb.
They're not.
How is Let's Go Brandon and F Joe Biden going viral in every freaking stadium in the planet?
It's going across. It's going around the world, man. Australia, they're saying it.
I said
Canada
planet.
just saying it. Yeah, they're. It's
Lowe's is killing it.
He was on Newsmax today.
Well,
But
He was
overall,
really.
it's not. People are not accepting it.
They're
And the
fans
gas
of
pumps?
Bryson here.
The gas pumps are the first sign that everybody will always notice the impact. The gas pump is always the first one. And as soon as you see those prices go up the way they are, and
Look, man,
everybody's
y'all
going
don't
to
know
freak out.
shit about paying gas out the ass. Come to another country, all right? You know how much gas is here? It's about $11 a gallon.
yeah.
So
Damn. I
You're-
lived in
you're good.
California.
But
I was
you
just going to say.
But you have to ship. You guys don't have refineries out there. You have to ship it. I'm in Texas. I literally can go milk off of a damn refinery less than.
I don't want to hear about your private time, Anthony.
I could go Pete Buttigieg the refinery right up the street and put it in my gas tank.
hey, I had a joke. Do you guys want to hear my joke?
How bad is it?
Damn. Do we have to censor me that bad?
No,
I'm
I'm
not
just
that
kidding.
bad, am I?
I love that Easy had to drop off. You ain't dropping off to laugh at that joke. Come on. All right, go ahead, Tini.
Okay, so do you guys know why they call it a mandate?
Oh God.
Oh,
ahead.
Oh,
God.
Do you guys know?
I'm not going to ruin the surprise. I read your.
Why do they call it a mandate?
Because you end up getting fucked in the ass afterwards.
That's a good one.
I was sitting on my couch.
So
I'm like,
so
man, mandate. What is mandate? I'm like, oh, what happens on a mandate? Yo, somebody's getting
so we were
fucked.
talking about the
that's-
police.
Yeah. So no, I was gonna say that's the same as a Project Veritas date, then, correct? Because pretty much every single one of the dates that they've been on, where they've been exposing them, have been grinder matchups. Let's be very clear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know people are gonna get offended, but that shit was funny in my head, and then I wrote it.
That
was good, Suni. That was good.
That was real good.
That was good. That's real good. All right, so before we wrap our show with V stuff, we want to let you guys know we do have a new Suni original shirt. Before she loses her shit,
Hey,
we
look,
have a new Suni
I'm tired
shirt.
of being put on the back burner, man.
Do you know how hard it was to edit this stupid thing? So here
I
it
helped.
is.
Look at that shirt, man. Go get those shirts. Seriously, go get them and wear them out and have people question you on why you're deciding to bring up Jim Crow 3.0. This is Jim Crow 3.0. I'm sorry.
So again, awakenotwoke.myshopify.com. Wake up for 20% off right there. There you go. All right. So there's a bunch of new shirts. There's also a Let's Go Brandon shirt. All those. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can get, including Unviewed Lives Matter, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Let's talk. First off, let's just real quick on the Colin Powell thing, because that'll ease into our final topic with Joe Rogan. Colin Powell passed away this week. Some people, of course, had bad things to say about him. Most people had good things. Whatever. He made errors during the Bush administration. Whatever. Passed away of COVID-19, and the family did note that he was fully vaccinated. However, left-wing media, which is the predominance of the mainstream, corrected that and said, well, he had not had the opportunity as a high-risk candidate had his booster yet, so he was not fully V'd.
That's such bullshit.
He had multiple myeloma, so that's the cancer my mom had, and it means that he didn't have an immune system. Like if he caught a disease, he was probably going to die. So like
Right.
it just says that maybe the V doesn't really, if you're at the highest possible category of not having an immune system, it might not save you.
Well,
And you know what? We knew that.
The past president of our fraternal order of police just died a couple days ago, and he was fully vaccinated.
And he died of COVID?
He died of COVID.
Oh, interesting.
Fully vaccinated, died of COVID, no underlying health conditions.
It doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. But anyway, but it might not. It might not. But Colin Powell had a cancer that literally removes your immune system from your body.
Right.
So
right.
And the
he
chemo
was in bad shape
doesn't.
regardless.
Yeah.
And again, this is part of the statistics we have to look at out of the 700,000 people that have passed away, is that there is the element of people that over the last year and a half were probably within 6 months to a year of death anyways, unfortunately. And this just was the catalyst that finished off what they had, unfortunately. And that's why 95% of the deaths had 4 comorbidities.
87% had at least one.
87% had at least, was it 87? I thought it was 95.
87 had at least one, and
just one.
Yeah. Oh, where did I get the 95% number?
Well, the 95 is 4 or more, and having 1 or more is 87%.
Well, it would be higher. It doesn't make sense statistically. It might be 95. It might just depend on where the data is coming out of. The smallest I've seen is 87. And the data is always shifting around.
Which goes to show some of the issues we have with all the data. So let's end with Joe Rogan. How many of you guys actually listened to most of it or all of it?
Oh,
Chelly,
it was wonderful.
I gotta challenge you to. It's so great. So and every bit of conservative media took their chance and they destroyed Sanjay Gupta. And this is to paint the picture. Sanjay Gupta asked Joe Rogan to be on his show, which means CNN went to Sanjay and was like, Sanjay, what do you got? You think you can take him down? You think can you do this? And Sanjay's like, absolutely. I'm a doctor, of course. And he got fucking demolished. And there's no way which clip do you have?
Where he's being asked about the horse medicine.
The horse medicine? That's a great
wonderful
clip. Let's go ahead and play that clip. I'm good with that one. I believe Zoe can play that.
Okay.
Cool. But there's one thing while she's loading that. So here's one thing I want you to know. We think that all doctors are perfect, and that's the problem. Tatum did a great piece on how doctors make mistakes just as much as regular humans. So there was an interesting piece that most people, and I'm going to do a short video on this tomorrow because I think this is incredibly interesting. Let me find it. Son of a biscuit. Where is it? Okay. So Sanjay Gupta talks about aspiration in terms of putting the jab in people's arm. And he said maybe it's because aspiration is not being done correct. Or he goes, I hope they're doing it. Maybe that's why there's causes of issues and pain, etc. So to tell you that Sanjay Gupta has not practiced medicine in a long time, there's a nurse that reached out to me, and I've got CDC information, an actual example that says, as of 2017, aspiration is not recommended before administering a V word. Aspiration prior to injection and injecting medication slowly are practices that have been evaluated scientifically. Aspiration was originally recommended for theoretical safety and reasons. Injecting medication slowly was thought to decrease pain from sudden distension of muscle tissue. Aspiration now can increase pain because of combined effects of longer needle dwelling time in tissues. So I'll end it there, but to tell you that Sanjay Gupta, the lord of the CNN rings, does not even know that they don't aspirate since 2017 will show you that there's some issues here. All right, let's show this clip. Sorry.
COVID, and I was really only sick for a day. And then 5 days later, I was negative. And I do have the natural antibodies now. Why would I take a chance in getting vaccinated on top of that?
By the way, I'm glad you're better.
Doesn't answer the question.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. And we should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing.
He looks nervous.
That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that.
Answer this question.
Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people? A drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the
Nobel Prize.
The Nobel Prize in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got
this
it
is
with
right
you.
Here. Somebody gave it to me.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm.
Oh my gosh!
Do you think that's a problem that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
I mean, what did they say?
They lied.
What did they
said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously you got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication.
Can it now?
Well, that part was edited. They did say he goes effective medication for other things, etc. He's still avoiding the point. And Joe Rogan did come back and say, yes, but as you know, Sanjay, that it actually shows to decrease viral replication. That is something that's very important, and that's why it's still being tested. There's current tests right now being done by the National Institute of Health on it. There's why it's taken so long for this to actually get proper testing, which, again, I'm not going to trust anything out of the NIH, but regardless. So go ahead, Kevin.
It comes down to the emergency use authorization, because the emergency use authorization relies on there being no FDA-approved alternative treatments. And there is a significant financial incentive to debunk literally any alternative. That's why Merck, who currently owns the rights to ivermectin, is currently working on their own vaccine that will rely on the emergency use authorization, as well as Pfizer working on alternative treatments that act it's called Pfizermectin for a reason. It is incredibly similar to ivermectin itself.
Doesn't Merck also has something very similar? The 740.
Yeah, the 700. Yeah. So they're trying to maintain the monopoly on the vaccines and make sure that when the alternative treatments come out and those V's are no longer usable anymore, because they're going to flag it because we said ivermectin anyways. So they're going to use it so that at the very least, as soon as you can't use the vaccines anymore, bam, they have all the treatments available and ready, and they're more expensive. And it's going to be even more money in their pocket. But it all comes down to maintaining that monopoly. Joe Rogan, somebody should go on his Insta. He put up a video today of literally all the times that CNN and NBC and everything had to roll sponsored by Pfizer, sponsored by Pfizer. Everything they do is sponsored by Pfizer.
So real quick, and you guys can continue to pile on because I got a few things on this one. But the Merck pill is very interesting. So people called everybody out because Merck said about 2 months ago that do not use the I word. It's not good for COVID. It's bad. And people go, if it was really good, wouldn't the company that would profit off of it actually promote it, not slam it? So see, case closed. Here's a fun fact. If you look at Merck's page, first off, we had no idea that they were in the works with their own anti-parasitic pill that has other properties, which it's very similar in structure with some added stuff. It's got some of the other protocol stuff included, but regardless, if you were to also take away not knowing that was in the works for a 100% markup, they also help in the manufacturing of the Johnson & Johnson V. It is on their main page. They're like, we want to let you guys know we are working hard as in conjunction with Johnson & Johnson to create the manufacture of their V word, etc. So obviously you go with what is a bigger moneymaker, especially in this case. It's so blatantly obvious, and people can't. By the way, that video was flagged and taken down by TikTok when I talked about that. Regardless, I'm showing their own website, the Merck website. Like, it doesn't get any more blatant than what is going on. Anybody who wants to go?
Well, let's call out two things here. So we got to separate two things. We got the media. You have CNN, our lovely news network that is always on point, that is pointing out the wrong things. And by the way, which is not highlighted in that video, but go back and look it up. Go back and compare Joe Rogan's live video he released on Instagram and Twitter. Compare it to what CNN did. CNN filtered it with a yellow filter to make him look like he was dead.
Yeah, and he talked
and it
about
made
that
him look disgusting.
By the way, we should mention how Don Lemon responded. He literally, like, when he brings Sanjay Gupta onto his show and doubles down and goes, look, it is commonly used as a horse dewormer. Like, dude, this is called framing. It's a journalistic tactic. Yep. We know what you're doing. You're intentionally framing it like he's a crazy person taking pills because, you know, technically what I said isn't a lie, but it's called the sin of omission, right? It's a biblical term. When you know the truth and you're intentionally trying to guide people away from the truth, that is a lie.
Did Jay not listen to a single word I just said? Or is he that dumb? Okay.
I don't even know who
Jay, when we're done here, rewind this little bit and listen to what I just said. And also look at the
I think he's a little behind, in fairness.
And maybe. And then look at other countries. The fact that they're handing this out like chiclets, and they have lower case rates than the United States, and their V levels are even lower than us. But whatever, go ahead.
Let's leave Jay alone because his next comment is just as colorful. But the point that I also wanted to make is not just about the media, but also about the pharmaceutical industry. So if anybody knows anything about the pharmaceutical industry, go ahead and look up Martin Shkreli and see what he did.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know anything about the pharmaceutical industry, just Google that name or DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, and see what he did in the pharmaceutical industry. And he got backed up by Congress and everyone and never got penalized for what he did. It was price gouging, and he capitalized on the market. That is what you're seeing with Merck. That's what you're seeing with a bunch of these other companies trying to take a prescription that already works and redesign it and utilize it and capitalize on the money. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. So one of the things that's really important to remember is to this point, Merck is when you talk about ivermectin and Merck, they are synonymous. But there's an important factor to take into this, which is ivermectin is no longer, it is a generic drug now. So right now, I just pulled it up. As of right now, there are 61 raw ingredients or bulk packagers and 11 finished product suppliers of this specific medication. The reason that there needs to be another therapeutic for Merck is probably profit driven and probably not driven out of the need for a new antiviral. So like people have to understand, like, this is the same thing that happened when OxyContin, for example, became a generic drug. Is what did they do? They went back and reformulated the contin part and repatented the drug. Now, there's fallacies in this argument, but just stick with me in the sense that when a drug goes from a patented and single source drug to a generic drug, the price drops and plummets implicitly. It's a hand-in-hand process. So what does Merck need to do? They need to create demand for a new version of the same thing that they've sold you before, so that they can hold the patent on it for about 10 to 15 years. It's a profit-driven business. So we can umbrella everything in a different way. I get how people would look at it differently, but I think it is important to paint that broad stroke there.
Really quick, there's also like a great poker tell that he does, that Gupta does every time he knows he's screwed. They were talking a lot about natural immunity, and it was so funny. There was a comment made talking about, they talked about reinfection, they talked about breakthrough cases, but Rogan says, I feel because Gupta kept challenging him to get the V on top of it. And he goes, I got a question. I mean, I looked at numbers, Sanjay, and I can't find the percentage, but it seems incredibly, incredibly low, if not non-existent, for people that have been reinfected, that have died of COVID. And Gupta literally, because he did this every time he knew he was screwed, he would take a gulp. His worst gulp was when he got to whiskey, and Rogan said that, and he goes, is there a number? Do you know of any? And he's like, no, I don't. And it was just this subtle moment where Gupta was so screwed because every bit of his argument was done. Like he failed. There was one thing he said early that Rogan missed. Rogan lulled, like, was his best friend for the first 45 minutes of the show. And then he lulled him to sleep at that point and then dropped the hammer, is the way I describe it. But Gupta said that 1/3 of COVID cases are long haulers. And Rogan must have missed it. It was early in the show. And I said, 1/3 of cases? You have to be kidding me. And it's like he was just making up facts as he went along. And but the last thing I'll say on top of Joe Rogan just did a phenomenal job was CNN having to do a save campaign. CNN had him on every single show, not just Don Lemon, but every single CNN bit. And the thing is, they were able to manipulate it for their audience and show itty bitty clips. Talk about how he talked about the mask. And said he even has his own mask line. So clearly, if he doesn't think they work, it's a joke, which he explained himself. It was the fact that he goes, I wear masks because it makes people feel comfortable. He goes, I don't believe that they whatever, but I do things to make people feel comfortable. And they targeted him in such a way they knew that because he wasn't there to refute what they were saying, that's the best they could do. And they still barely got off the ground on that. And that's how I'll wrap on Joe Rogan. Anybody else have anything else to say?
I just want to say, like, I really enjoyed watching a neurosurgeon get beat around by a gorilla. Like, Joe Rogan is a bald gorilla, and he beat the crap out of Sanjay there.
Yeah. Oh God, is this? I think this is a joke, but I do find that funny. All right, let's go ahead and do final words, and let's get out of here. Let's go ahead and just do a quick round robin. Let's start with easy. Actually, let's start with Kevin because I know you got to go. So Kevin, go for it, brother.
Yeah. Once again, guys, this is, things are getting a little wild, but we can get through this together. For those of you, if any of you are libertarians in the state of Colorado, I'm currently working on getting the Larimer County Libertarian Development Group, Libertarian Party up and running out here. If you want to participate, go ahead and reach out to me, no problem. Check it out. Check me and Bucky out over at Liberty Revolt. We have great stuff going on with the radio station. We are going to be turning it into the nation's largest libertarian radio, just in general. So if you want to in the future see some great libertarian content, because I love me some liberty, please check us out at 1360khnc.com. I'm going to be on there tomorrow morning from 10 to 12. Mountain time. So if you want to hear some more from me, I'll be on there with a flat earther and a really good guy, 2 different people, but it's a lot of fun. So
does that make you a libtare?
What, the libtare? Like,
because you're the ultimate libertarian. Like, so it's like the other word, but it's a libtare. Are you a libtare?
I mean, I just call myself autistic, so like.
Accurate. Easy. Go ahead. Thanks, Kevin. Go ahead and head out of here. I know you got to go. Go for it,
brother. I'll just remind everybody real quick, do a quick merch drop here. Hit us up at awakenotwoke.myshopify.com. Go ahead and use our promo code WAKEUP for 20% off. Get some merch. If you can't speak for yourself and you don't feel like making a statement, let us do it for you. It's important that everybody be able to express themselves. And I don't mean this in a colloquial way. Get out there and say something. And if you're not going to do it, let our merch speak for you. And I think it's an important part of what we're doing to move forward. So come over, check us out.
We do have hoodies, by the way, now, too. There's the Wake hoodies, the Unveed Lives Matter hoodie. So that's not just T-shirts. We've got the
Matter
hoodies.
We got it all.
Hats, stuff like that. Yep, there it is. There's a hoodie. Chelly, I need to. You've got the blue, the back, the blue shirts that you have. I never got to get one. The next time you do a print of those, I need those. But Chelly, go ahead and wrap up. Oh, are you wearing it right now? Oh, nice. Let's see, think it was an Instagram. I love it. I dig that. I got to get one of those from you. All right, Chelly, unmute yourself. There you
Sorry,
go.
I always
You're
do
good.
it. I just want to say thank you guys for having me. If any of your viewers are in Chicago, please reach out to your alderman, have them put a stop to the mayor. Please call your alderman. I would greatly appreciate it. Please say a prayer for all first responders and all nurses and doctors that are going through this across America. We should not be put to this. But thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for letting me speak from Chicago's point of view, I guess, what's going on here. I appreciate it. Suni and Russo, it's nice. And Casey, Easy, I don't think I've met you before. I think I've seen you, but I don't know if we've met. But
I don't think we've had a chance, but maybe more in the future. We'd love that.
Yeah, let's have you back. We need more, as Suni would say, a little bit more flavor, and the fact that you not only bring flavor, but you also bring a little blue blood in there. I appreciate that, and I know our audience does as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Joe. Case, go for it, buddy.
I'm going to go with my candid response. You shut up. Don't. No. I cut you off before you could tell me I'm muted. I caught it. No, my candid response is, hey guys, I've been noticing a lot with the elections. Like you got New Jersey and West Virginia. Elections are now. And then we only have, like, my city mayor election is going on right now. Like, he will be elected in less than 3 weeks. So be engaged, know who you need to vote for, know your timelines. If you need help or guidance because you don't know where to go, reach out to me. I'll look it up and get you the information. Next year is going to be extremely important because that's how we can flip the House and the Senate and try to take back control and get back in a normal manner in our government. And so keep focus on those things. Do not lose keep an eye on those things and keep focused on how we're going to solve it. And then remember, unite, don't fight.
Love it. Soons, what's up?
Repeal the 19th. Men should grow a set of balls. I've fallen off the political train, and I think a lot of people know that about me because I did a live on it. I personally am not going to tell you to go vote because neither side has our best interests at heart. It starts with all of us standing up and demanding way more than what's going on. So be leaders in your own communities. Go out for these positions if you're interested. And men need to step up, all right? Repeal the 19th and men grow a set of balls and make America think again. And actually tune in on Monday because I'm actually going to be sitting down and having a conversation with a transgender.
Oh.
Which is going to be interesting.
Where's that going to be? Where's that on?
It'll be on my Facebook and my YouTube. I had to completely start over because I got banned on my other.
How can they? Where is that page now? What is the name?
All you got to do is type in Sunni the middle child. It'll pop right up.
Got it.
Super easy. This thing right here at the bottom, my screen name.
Got it. All right. So to Suni's point about voting, I do agree that neither side across the board. However, local municipalities in each area, there is some really good politicians out there. And if your area has them, figure that out. And as Casey said, do some research. There is good politicians. The ones that are the establishment politicians, I don't think a single fucking one of them has them on our best sides. But there are, and the small stuff, as we've learned, the importance of school board. We've learned the importance of small districts, like the little ones. And these are people that aren't so big that they're corrupted by their bullshit party at this point. So to Suni's point, agreed. To Suni's point, also slightly disagree. That's pretty much what we had some interesting issues on this episode that typically I would be a little bit kinder about, but I think the kindness has led us to where we are today. And there's certain times we need to talk about things like this and certain times to realize it's complete bullshit. I love you, Jay. I love you and your complete naivete. I love you. With that said, it's not going to get you anywhere in life, just so you know. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Please check out the merch. As Easy said, I want to give a shout out to Kelly, I'm about to be giving her a call. So her grandmother sent prayers. Her grandmother has had a great 90 years. Her grandfather passed away in the beginning of the calendar year, right after, ironically enough, he got his V word and all of a sudden had heart condition, had heart disease, oddly enough. And now her grandmother had strokes. Just gonna throw that out there. But anyways, they both lived a great life, and we hope that she passes this evening or tomorrow morning, as it, ironically enough, is her husband's birthday. So hopefully they can spend it together and she can go in peace. And just remember, everybody, hug your loved ones. Life is shorter than we realize. And next thing you know, you're 39, or next thing you know, you're 90 years old. And hopefully have had a great life. So God bless. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Unite, don't fight. And let's go, Brandon.
Repeal the
Definitely.
19th.
And,
Yes.
well, yeah, that too. But